Hey guys, how's it going? Eric Norris here, gonna give you a quick update of what's currently in my bag, and let's get into it. We're gonna start off with the putters first. I'll tell you what, if you guys have seen my videos of all those ridiculous putt shots I make, I'll tell you what, this is my go-to for all the short distance putts. When I say short distance, I really kind of mean all the way up to almost 80 to 100 feet. These are my go-tos. It's kind of similar to a zone, but there's just something about this disc that really works well for me. It might work really well for you, it might not, but for me, these are my go-tos. So this is my number one, the purple putter, baby. Man, there's something about this that I just absolutely love. So these are my main putters. Then I got my long distance putters, and that's for more of 200 feet, 150 feet out, and those are the Envies, okay? So I got 3 of those in my bag. I got the Eclipse, which is the current one that I like. This is so cool, it's in the glow plastic. Oh, by the way, the weight on these are 173, 174, I wanna say, grams. And then on these, they're about 173, 172. That's just what I found to be kind of that sweet spot for me. And these, come in handy on those long distance shots. They're just further away because they glide a little bit longer. These have a little bit more of a tail end finish that curves to the left, kind of like the zone. Not as harsh as a zone, but that's why I don't do those for the long. These just glide forever. So the Envy Glow Eclipse, that's super cool. Then I got this special edition Fission Envy, and this just holds straight and stable. And then just a regular Neutron soft Envy. And I love the Envy. Love it so much. I am a huge fan of Axiom and MVP Sports and Streamline. All 3 are the same company. So Streamline is also an Axiom and MVP brand. Next, going to the mid-ranges. Gotta love the Hex. So these are the 3. I usually have at least 2 or 3 in the bag at all times. And this one is a Fission. It's funny, this one's more overstable. This is also a Fission, but it's understable. So I hate the inconsistencies on these sometimes because you really want to have the same thing happening each time when you're throwing, and when it's off. Yeah, this could work well for some situations, but it's nice to have consistency. And then this one as well. I've aced with a lot of hexes. This has been, I would probably say, this is probably my favorite disc overall because it tends to do what I want it to do for the most part. Not always, of course, because, Yeah, the Hex is my go-to mid-range. I've tried the Buzz. I wanted to make it work. It just wasn't for me. I've tried other ones too. I even tried a Mint Mustang, which was fairly good. But the Hex, man, there's something special about this disc. So anyway, the weight that I use on this is going to be anywhere between a 167 to a 170. This one just happens to be a 172, which I don't usually go that heavy on the mid-ranges, but the Hex, baby, very cool disc to have. Next up, complementing the Hex is a fairway driver that I really like is the Crave. And so I just picked up this one recently. I haven't even inked it up yet. This one's been great. Overstable, understable, kind of annoying. But if you think about it with this, these are 2 different plastics. So with the Cosmic Neutron, they tend to be more overstable. In the Fission, once they're broken in a little bit, this thing kind of wants to glide to the right a little too much now. I almost don't even like having it in the bag. I might just buy a new one to have more consistency like this one is. But I'll tell you what, this thing right here comes in handy quite a bit. And so far what you've seen is, I'd say 4 different molds right there. And what you want to do, they say not to have too many discs that are all different, flight characteristics. You want to have 2 or 3 in your bag of each one that you normally throw all the time to keep that consistency. With that being said, I've kind of changed it up recently. with these two discs. Just these are probably temporary, but normally I have a Wraith, an Innova Wraith that kind of takes the place of these, but I just aced with my Wraith, so I had to retire that thing. So I got the Tesla. This has a pretty harsh turn to the left, you know, overstable. This will come in handy for certain, you're trying to get around trees. This is a 9-speed, and so this is a Wave. I love this print. How cool is that stamp? I love this thing. You can actually still get these. These were from 2022. I just bought another one that I just keeping, and I'm probably never gonna play on just because I love the stamp so much. And this is also an Eclipse as well, kind of like that. But the Wave, I think it's like a 11 or 12 speed. I can't remember exactly, but this thing glides fairly well and kind of overstable as well. So these are kind of taking the place of my Wraith at the moment. So now let's go into the main drivers. All right, I got 3 that I go with, and they're all Innova. It's funny how almost everything I throw is Axiom, Streamline, or MVP, and then for whatever reason, my drivers are Innova. Let's start off with my charger. This is a good overstable, but still pretty stable disc. I like this a lot because it complements my other discs, the Shryke. That's the other one of my go-to. So this is good. This is in a 170. With my drivers, I kind of keep in the weight range of about 168, 169, sometimes 170. So charger, great disc, love it. This is the second one I've owned. I'm very pleased with those. And then going into the Shryke, I got 2 Shrykes right here. Both fly differently. This one is a little bit more understable. This is a little bit more overstable. And I go with the Champion plastic because I don't want these getting beat in, because they have just the right flight characteristics that I want them to do what they should do right out of the gate, right out of the box. Because if I went with Star Plastic, you know, a few hits of the trees and eventually this thing is going to start being understable, and I'm just going to be like, it's only good for like a turnover disc. But this is kind of like my main, probably my #1 go-to for driver is my Shryke. Recently, to complement that, I went with the Corvette. I've gotten to purchase the Corvette a few times. This is a 168 weight. Haven't inked it up yet, put my name on it, but I will. I love the Corvette. One of my first aces I ever got in Nashville was with a Corvette. And I like this disc a lot. The way that it flies, it's kind of cool. It's just got this special characteristic about it that I really like. And it's very similar to the Shryke. Has this very similar profile. I would say, you know, it's a little thicker, you know, and it just has a little bit more of a wider lip and cuts through that wind very nicely. So I kind of look at this as similar to a Shryke, and it kind of fits in that same wheelhouse. And then, you know, for overstable, when it's more windy out, my destroyers. I only have one at the moment because I just aced, was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday I aced with my other one. I had a white destroyer, same stamp. And I had that in the bag forever. It was so beat up, looked so nasty, and I'm so glad to retire it now because it just looked hideous. But I'll probably have to go buy another one. I really love the Destroyer. This is a great disc when you're wanting to get those, what would you call it? I guess kind of like a Anheuser shot when you want to get that beautiful S-line to get that extra distance. And just in windier conditions, it's just always something that's really good to have in the bag. So that's all my discs in a nutshell, and then we'll go with the bags. So currently, this is kind of my go-to every day. This is a Dynamic Discs bag that I purchased that actually fits right in with the Zuka cart. And I dialed this setup in pretty well. I mean, this thing's sweet because I got my cup holder here, which usually I'd put like one of those bean bags, you know, for your hands when you're for grip. And then you got your cell phone holder right here. I got my little mount for my GoPro. So when I'm filming, I got my towel, and I got my JBL speaker right here so I can listen to my stick figure. which is awesome. Of course, I got my little disc retriever right here. I'll tell you what, man, you might think it looks dumb to carry one of these around, like, oh, I must not be very good if I have this. But every disc golfer, this comes in handy for everyone. And this is the extra long one, so this comes in real handy on those really, like if your disc is way up in the tree, or if it's, you know, anyway. So, and I also have like a slingshot that I keep here, because sometimes if it's really far up, you just gotta really, I haven't really actually used it once, and I realized, the retriever actually works fine. So normally, you know, I got like a few things that I'll keep in there, maybe a hat, maybe sunglasses. You know, I got my nice elbow. So the thing is, I use this mainly to not overextend my arm when I'm throwing, to kind of keep it from hyperextending. So that's really why. And also because I throw so often, it is kind of sore a lot. And so, and I like the idea of keeping it warm. Like, it's kind of like a baseball pitcher. You see them when they got their whole sleeve on in between innings. To me, it's like the same thing, keeping that blood flowing. It's beneficial not just as a, oh, my arm hurts or something, you know. So it's beneficial in multiple ways. Got my mini here. This is from the PDGA when I signed up. They give you one of those. And of course, a rangefinder. So, you know, everyone talks about the Bushnell rangefinder, and that one's all great and dandy and all, but that takes batteries. This one I like better because it's cheaper and it's rechargeable, so you don't have to put a freaking different battery in all the time. Rogue Iron, I got this on Amazon, way cheaper than the Bushnell, and this works just as good. If it does exactly what you want it to do. And I love this thing. This comes in handy because not for when I'm about to throw, but literally it's usually after I throw. I go, dang, I made that shot. How far was that? I'm like, oh, 83 feet. It's just good to know, you know. It's just, I love having that for those reasons. And what else? Yeah, I got this cart this year, and I've been loving it. I just added this eagle patch on there because he's a damn good player, and yeah. And then you got some cup holders in the back here. And then this is just a backpack that I picked up on Amazon. Super cheap, nothing fancy about it. I just got it because it was cheap. It was like 20 bucks. And it does the job. It's not the greatest. The biggest, I love everything about it. There's pockets everywhere. I love that. The biggest downside is when you set it down with all your discs, it plops over. Hello, that's like the #1 thing you don't want. So what I did is I put a wrench in the bottom here, took some Velcro and basically mounted it to the bottom on this side so that it wouldn't keep falling this way. So hopefully it's helped. So it just makes the bag heavier, which is annoying. You know, so I go back and forth with these, mainly use this one. This is just because if I just don't want to lug that around and just want to do more of a backpacking thing, you know, I can fit the rangefinder in here, and my retriever I can put in like this. This is a new thing I just did recently with my tripod. I mounted it on here to see if this would work, and I've tried it. It doesn't work out that well. I don't like how it's this is low to the ground. I like this being higher. Your perspective when you're filming looks a lot better when it's there. And also, this never stays straight up. It's always tilted to the side, so not really a fan. But, you know, I got my towels on both of them. Otherwise, it's a good bag overall, you know. Got my beanie, you know, just whatever, your wallet. You can fit all your stuff in there. But that's it in a nutshell, guys. I hope my latest in the bag gives you some sort of idea of maybe this will appeal to you guys. I don't know if you guys are Axiom fans, MVP fans, or Streamline. Streamline is kind of a lesser known, but what's cool about them, so they don't have the rim, you know, they don't have that overmold. So the benefit to that is they can produce these cheaper. So you can pick these up for like 13 bucks. As opposed to getting like a zone for like 20 bucks or 17 bucks or whatever. So I like the fact that they keep their prices affordable. And they're basically similar to Axiom. You got the same kind of cosmic neutron vibe, which I love these kinds of discs. They need to get more of these in stock. You go online and you're like, dude, that's the one problem. That's my biggest gripe in disc golf, is the inventory is so low for a lot of these discs. They always have the undesirable colors. They always have the undesirable weights, and that's really annoying. So when you find something good, you got to hold on to it. Man, the nice thing about putters, you don't usually ever lose them. So I've had these for quite a while. You know, drivers usually are the first thing to disappear, you know, because you're way down the fairway, you're trying to find them in bushes or in a tree, and they just sometimes disappear. But these, you can tell they're worn. They've done me so well. I love these things so much. What would I throw if I didn't have these? I don't know, maybe zone. I got a couple of those in my practice basket over here that I throw every morning just as a little warm-up. But yeah, streamline discs, highly recommend. You know, the Envy. The funny thing about the Envy is I just happened to, I didn't even know how good they were. I bought the James Conrad, like limited, I thought it was a limited edition. I thought it was a special one, the Holy Shot disc. Kept it in the plastic for about a year. And then I went back to the disc golf store and I was like, dude, you guys still have a ton of these? He's like, yeah, they're nothing special. So at that point I realized it's not a collector's item. Took it out of the plastic. I said, oh, just try this thing out, throw with it. I'm like, I love this disc once I actually threw it. And that one that I had, I aced with. So that one's hung up on the wall. I just love how these fly, man. Axiom makes some really good discs. I am a huge fan. And of course, the Hex. You know, Simon Lizotte raves about the Hex. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I get one, I tried it out and I'm like, oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now. These are so sweet. And the Crave, you know, and when you sign up for the PDGA this last year, I don't know if they do it every year, maybe they do, but they gave out a Crave. I have mine upstairs. I haven't played on it. I'm just like keeping it as a memento, I guess. It's black, so even if I threw it, it's gonna be harder to find. I always try to get bright colors so they stand out, because man, the last thing you wanna do is be playing on the course, first throw, and then you have to search for your disc for like 45 minutes. So I don't recommend any green discs. You know what's a hard disc? This is a hard color to find in the fall time. So I don't recommend throwing these colors in the fall time. But you know, anything like this, it's gonna stand out pretty well. That's why I like the bright colors. And yeah, the Shrykes, the Corvettes, and the Destroyers, those are my main drivers, you know. I love playing. I play every single day, and I'm just rambling on at this point. But anyway, I hope you guys found this well. Please like, please subscribe. Eric Norris, peace out.